Welcome guys, and in today's video we're going to figure out what is better to practice on. Is it going to be fake skin or is it going to be our fruit? So let's go. As always, gloves. So in today's video we're going to be using a 9-round liner and a 9 curved mag. Our ink setup is going to be the same as last time. We got full black, 16, 8, 4, and 2. Those are the number of drops that are in each one. So with that said, I think we're going to start with the fake skin. Let's start with this particular piece of fake skin. Now there are a lot of different pieces of fake skin. If you're curious to what fake skin you think that you want to use, I'll put a video somewhere up here. You can go check that out where I test all the fake skins, or at least the bulk of them. Now I'm gonna do the same thing we did in that last video. So we'll come up here and we'll do this right here. All right, so that felt pretty decent. Not bad. Fell off the line a little bit over there. So now I'm gonna jump over to that 9 curved mag. Just want to let you guys all know real quick that the tattoo guides are officially out. There's links in the description if you're interested in those. Also, you can check out the video right here where I go into way more detail about the guides. All the proceeds from these tattoo guides are going to be going to help feed the homeless, clothe homeless people, give them transportation, and just people helping people. Let's see how much money we can raise, guys. Let's keep at it. And yeah, let's get back to the video. So I'm dipping into that 2-drop, very light, very light ink setup there. Now, as you can see, that was the number 2 drop, and I went over it quite a bit. And I was pushing the needles a little bit. Like, I wasn't just skimming the top. We were actually putting a little bit of pressure into it. All right, so here I'm gonna jump up to a 8-drop and see how that works out. Okay, definitely a big difference from our 2 to our 8. Now we'll jump all the way up to our black here. All right, and there you go, you have our black. Now if I keep going with this black, it will get quite dark. It is straight black. So that is our fake skin. Now, I will say this felt pretty decent. Like, I feel like there's a difference. That's our 2, that's our 8, and that's our straight black. There is a solid difference between them. I can easily know what I'm gonna get with each drop. So with 2, I know I'm gonna get that shade, or if I push more, I'll get, you get the gist here. The lining, not bad. It looks pretty decent. A little bit more practice on just fake skin, the better things will get. So let's jump over to some fruit and see how they compare. Now, if you watched the last video, I'm heavily encourage you guys, go check out that last video. I'll link it in this video somewhere. This is pretty much what we got in our last video. We lined it, we took our full black and our 2-drop, and this was the difference. And I thought that was pretty promising. I don't know if you can get that in the camera here, but I thought that was pretty promising. So what I'd want to do is get that shader back out, and I want to go through the different shades and see how they feel, how they look. Here we just have 2 in black. So again, I'm going to start off with that 2-drop, okay? I'm going to start off with a 2-drop. Now I'm trying to be extremely gentle here because the pores on this are quite large, so they'll take that ink pretty quick. Alright, went really light, as light as I felt I kind of could. And it's still kind of on the darker side in comparison to our fake skin. Our number 2 here, our number 2 there. Now when I say number 2, again, I'm referring to our 2-drop. 2 drops of black, the rest water. That's the difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip into that 2 again, and I'm going to dip one splash into some distilled water and see if I can get that lighter. Maybe I just have to figure out how to shade this piece of fruit, and maybe it'll compare closer to this fake skin. So let's try that. So I'm dipping into that 2, and then I'm doing 1 splash into the distilled water. You have to be very careful not to dive those needles in. If you dive those needles in, it's just going to be very dark very quickly. But if you just skim them along the top, listen. Okay, that's the sound. Yeah, that is definitely lighter, and I hope that you can see that in the camera. Definitely lighter. So I'm going to dip into that 2 again, and I'm going to do 2 drops, 2 splashes into the distilled water. 1, 2. Just skimming the surface. Oh yeah, it's definitely far less going in now, because I really don't have a lot of actual black ink in there. So I'm being a little bit more aggressive, not a lot, but a little bit more. Alright, let's take a look now. Okay, definitely have a difference in gradation. I hope that you guys can see that. Might be kind of tough to see, I'm not sure. My eyes, I can definitely see a difference. So, with that said, absolutely think you can get some nice shades using fruit, more water than ink, because they're so porous. It's just sucking that right in, that ink. So again, this is dark, but that's our 2. That is our 2 drop, 1 splash of water, 2 splashes of water. I kind of like this. The feeling was nice. You can kind of listen for the sound to know when those needles are just skating in and skating out, which might help you in some way, shape, or form. So nonetheless, if you're at home and you're working with this fruit, this is how I would shade this. This is how I would work my machine and in my inks, my tones. Super light shades, super gentle with the grapefruit. Let's jump over to our honeydew now. Now in our last video, you'll see different shades in here. Again, we did find that more water, just like with the grapefruit, more water does better. So I'm gonna dip into that 2 drop again. Just skimming the surface here. Barely putting those needles in. Now, I don't know about what you guys can see, but I see some dots and specks in there, like, I don't know. It just seems a little strange. Maybe that's me and how I'm moving. Not 100% sure. I'll try to smooth that out a little bit as I move forward. Let's go back into that 2. Now I'm going to take a splash into some water, distilled water like we did before, and we're going to come right over here and do the same thing again. Alright, now I don't know. See, I'm just not getting a very consistent look here with this. Alright, I'm going to go back into that 2 again. I'm going to do 2 splashes and see if I can't get something to start happening here that's somewhat consistent. If you just pass over a spot 1 time, you might be able to get away with it. I don't know. Now, on my last video, I was able to get some gradations, some changes, some things to happen, but every one of these strokes was just 1 movement across. If I went over it twice, it got too dark. And that's essentially what I was trying to do over here, is I would go over these just more than once, and you could see that it was just splotchy and not really the cleanest. So, not a big fan of that, and the fact that if you're shading this, you have to be so gentle to just let the tips of those needles go in that it can be pretty challenging. Now, if you practiced enough and got comfortable enough with the honeydew, you could absolutely shade it. You could really make something cool here. I was so hopeful for this honeydew. You don't even know. I was so hopeful that this honeydew was going to shade beautifully, but it's not bad, but it's not the greatest, okay? Honestly, when it comes to shading, you're far better off practicing with a grapefruit. So, now that we know we're down to the grapefruit and the fake skin, I'm going to shade both of them 1 more time and see what happens, see how I feel, just give you guys my overall opinions on it. Okay, I'm skimming it. I can choose that 2 drop, and I can just so ever so gently tattoo it. You might not even be able to see this on camera, I don't know. But there is those moments when you need really light shades. So I'm going to jump into a 8-drop again. Come up next to it. And as you can see here, unlike the fruit, you have some time. Now again, this is fake skin, obviously. You have some time to really build that up. You have some time to go over it, to whip stuff around, to move stuff around before it gets too dark. And yeah, I'm just reminding myself what this feels like, so I can tell you my opinion when practicing. What is better, fruit or fake skin? All right, I have 2 in here with 1 drop of water. Now, if I shade this the same way I shade that fake skin, I mean, that was only like a couple of seconds. As you can see, it's already a bit on the dark side. And that was 2 with a splash of water. Now, if I just go straight into that 2, and what's going to happen here is it's going to probably end up getting too dark too quickly. All right. So if I dip into that 2 and I 1, 2, 3 splashes of water, we might start getting a lighter shade. And there you go. You get a lighter shade. So this right here is the best fruit to shade. So if you're practicing shading and all you got is some fruit, get yourself some grapefruit. Practice your shading. Use very light shades. But when trying to compare fruit to fake skin, I just don't think you can, because at the end of the day, these shades are consistent. I can use the same shades I use on fake skin as I do in real skin. So my setup can be exactly the same. I can set things up how I like it. I can tattoo this fake skin, get gradations that make sense, get shades that I would expect. The lining is a bit better as well. I don't have pores to fight. I don't have various things going on. It is flat. Now you could say for being flat, that's not the greatest for practicing, but you can always put this on something and rubber band it down, and so you get the feel of tattooing something curved. That's always a possibility. But as a whole, you could tattoo something on here and have it. It's here. You can always go back to it and look. Eventually, fruit's gonna rot away. Sure, you can take a picture of it. That's something. And is it good to practice on fruit? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the #1 for shading. #1. You can also do some great lining. But if you want to do some lining, definitely go with the honeydew. Shading over here. But if you can get your hands on some fake skin, go ahead and get some fake skin. Because when it comes to it, again, it just does the job better. Hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something, because I know I did. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the bell, and until next time, peace.